Are you wondering how crochet color changes even work? Let me show you. While the end goal of any tapestry project may be a beautifully complex work of art, the tools needed to craft it are all foundational. To work color changes, simply pull up both loops of your crochet stitch and finish it with the color you are changing to. The principle is the same whether you're working a single crochet, a double crochet, or even a treble crochet. In all cases, your color change will happen when you have your last two loops on the hook. In order to keep this transition nice and clean, it's important to keep your tension consistent through this color transition. Don't worry if it ends up looking loose. Depending on if you're trying to float your yarn, which means pulling it along the back of your work to your next color change, carry your yarn, which means crocheting over the top of it until you reach your next color change, or you just want to cut it, there are different ways to keep your tension nice and tight. I prefer to cut my yarn and leave a nice long tail if I know there's going to be a big gap in between my use of that color. Some people are against tying knots within the matrix of their project, but I always tie a double knot to keep my yarn tails nice and secure before I weave in the ends, and in my experience, it isn't noticeable in the finished work. I elect to carry my yarn if it is the same color as the row below, or if I'm just not worried about the color showing through. How you feel about this is going to have a lot to do with the stitches you're using, or even just personal preference, but either way, you should always carry yarn at the bottom of the stitches you are currently working. Lastly, let's talk about floats. I prefer to use floats when I'll be picking that color back up after only a couple of stitches. Floats can cause buckling in your work if you're not careful about tension, so I prefer to keep them a little loose. You can always pick up a little bit of tension on your next row if you're worried about your float being too loose by catching it with your hook and working it into the bottom of the stitch above it. My final tip for this video is, regardless of which technique you're using, make sure you're always moving your color changes to the back of your work, also known as the wrong side, and that the color you are changing from is underneath the color you are changing to. This will give the posts of your stitches a more consistent look and ensure that all of your tails end up on the same side of your work. Be sure to drop me a follow for more content like this, especially if you're interested in some long-form content, and I'll have more tips and tricks for you soon.